stand by. 10-4 Parkland has been notified. The president's head was practically blown off.
113 squad from the downtown area, code 3 to Elm and Houston, with caution.
43 en route. All in route. 233.
233.
I'm sitting here at Elm and Houston.
10-4.
61's en route.
61. Has the ambulance gone through already?
We just arrived.
Stand by there till we notify you.
10-4. I'm on Hines in front of Parkland. What is this emergency on this ambulance?
Boy, there's been a shooting in the downtown area involving the president.
10-4. 10-4. 81.
81.
Let's go around tonight. 43.
43.
Where do we report?
Elm and Houston.
258, code 5.
10-4, 258.
386, code 5.
386 now.
36, clear, code 5. 233. 866.
Attention all squad. Attention all squad. The suspect in the shooting at Elm and Houston is reported to be an unknown white male, approximately 30, slender build, height 5 feet 10 inches, weight 165 pounds, reported to be armed with what is thought to be a .30 caliber rifle. Attention all squad, the suspect from Elm and Houston is reported to be an unknown white male, about 30, slender build, 5 feet 10 inches tall, 165 pounds, armed with what is thought to be a .30 rifle. No further description at this time or information. 1245 KKB 364 Dallas.
233. What do you want it for?
Signal 19 involving the president.
233.
233.
He's thought to be in this Texas school book depository here on the northwest corner of Elm and Houston.
As the presidential motorcade made its way through downtown Dallas, at least 3 shots rang out in the vicinity of Elm and Houston. And one child reportedly was a witness to the shooting. A young colored boy said that as he heard the first shot, he looked up at the 4th floor window of the old Texas School Book Exchange building and saw a man leaning from the window, and then he fired at least 2 more shots.
Male 30, slender build, 5 foot 10 inches, 165 pounds. They have used a .30 caliber rifle. Believed to be in the old school book depository. Elm and Houston this time, 1248.
550, car 2.
Go ahead, 550.
Traffic officer to dispatcher.
Go ahead.
I have an eyewitness over here. Saw the president get hit. He's over here. The witness is over here at the T&P railway overpass at the 7th Service Road.
Latest details on the chase and search in downtown Dallas. An unidentified man fired several shots from what apparently was a high-powered .30 caliber rifle at the presidential motorcade. So far, the authorities are not releasing details on who, if anyone, was hit by any of the bullets or how badly they were injured. Parkland Hospital being very closed-mouthed about the situation, but the search now centers at the area of Elm and Houston near the old Texas School Book Depository building, and there is a possibility that the would-be assassin is still inside that building. All available downtown units are converging at emergency speed to that. Here is the latest unconfirmed report we have, and we must stress that this is unconfirmed, but it comes from a very high-placed official who refuses to be quoted. But it is now reported that Governor Connolly and the President perhaps have been wounded in this assassin's attempt. It is an unofficial report that both the President and Governor Connolly were wounded in this shooting event in the downtown area during the passage of the motorcade.
The wounds indicated an automatic weapon had been used. Police say this is believed to be a .30 caliber pistol, rather rifle. 3 loud bursts of gunfire, possible tragedy on this November 22nd in Big D.
That's the man up there to cover this building, this Texas School Book
of shots come from that? Attention all squads, the suspect from Elman, Houston is reported to be an unknown white male about 30, slender build, 5 feet 10 inches tall, 165 pounds, armed with what is thought to be a .30-30 rifle. No further description at this time or information.
Here is a bulletin from CBS News. In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
The automobile in which the president was riding reportedly sped out to Parkland Hospital, and we do not know whether Mrs. Kennedy and or Mrs. Connolly suffered any injury at all. The first report we had said that both of the men were lying prone in the automobile in the caravan limousine at the time it made its way rapidly to Parkland Hospital. We have no further details. Parkland Hospital is being placed almost off limits to reporters at this time, but those details that are available will be brought to you just as quickly as we possibly can. Very briefly recapping, there has been an assassination attempt in downtown Dallas. Shots fired from a high-powered rifle at the presidential car in the motorcade as it was en route to the trademark for a scheduled presidential speech. All of these security precautions that have been taken, and now this happens. And the police are converging on and surrounding the area of Elman, Houston, the old Texas School Book Exchange building, where they believe they may have trapped the would-be assassin.
With 3 loud bursts visibly heard by members of the motorcade. Cycle officers escorting the president quickly leaped from their bikes and raced up a grassy hill. That description again, a man about 5'10", 165 pounds, about 30 years of age. He was armed with a .30-30 caliber rifle. He was of slender build. The police department has thrown out an extensive drag net.
The blood was spattered all over the inside of the limousine, which had been flown in specially to carry the president. Ordinarily, there is a huge plastic bubble which allows the public a view of the president and those in the car with him, but gives those inside the limousine protection from the weather and would-be assassins. But because of the rapid, beautiful turn in today's weather, the bubble had been removed, and the president and all those in the limousine were fully exposed, not only to the public and the elements, but also to these would-be killer bullets. We now have received word from Parkland Hospital that the president is still alive. No official report yet on Governor Connolly's condition. However, both men were alive at 12:50. We do now have information that that President Kennedy is alive. Word from Hyannisport, Massachusetts, just handed us President Kennedy's mother and father have been advised that he has been shot here in Dallas. They are presently at Hyannisport. And from New York City, only minutes after the president was shot, stocks moved actively lower, but a few issues stayed on the upside. The search continues through downtown Dallas for the man who today loaded a gun and intended to snuff out the life of the President of the United States and the Governor of the state of Texas, John Connolly. How closely he has come to accomplishing his devious aim, we do not know. We do have word that the President is still alive, but the true extent of his injuries and what his present condition might be, we have not yet received official word on that.
And for our information, that a suspect just went in the Texas theater on West Jefferson.
10-4.
Supposed to be hiding in the balcony. The suspect has been apprehended at Texas Theater en route to station.
Dallas. One man has been arrested as a prime suspect. He fits fairly closely the description of the man who supposedly fired these bullets. He was arrested in the vicinity of Elman, Houston, where the dragnet has been out for some 45 minutes now and is being rushed to police headquarters for further questioning. At Parkland Hospital, the top surgical specialists have arrived. A Roman Catholic priest has arrived, and a few moments ago, a special shipment of blood was brought in by 2 Dallas police officers. Bill Stinson, an assistant to Governor Connolly, let him talk to the operating room. This is late word from Parkland. He said the governor had been shot just below the shoulder blade in the back. Stinson said he asked Connolly how it happened, and he said, "I don't know. I guess from the back, but they got the president, too." Still alive, as a report from United Press International leads off this way. President Kennedy has been shot. He is perhaps fatally wounded. The last shooting incident involving a president occurred in 1950 when President Harry Truman was in office and living in Blair House in Washington. That was when the White House was being renovated. Two Puerto Rican nationalists tried to gun their way into Blair House and assassinate Truman, who was taking a nap at the time on the second floor. One White House officer was killed in that assassination attempt and another seriously wounded, and one of the assassins was cut down in the blaze of defensive gunfire on Pennsylvania Avenue. The Senate has adjourned in Washington upon learning of the assassination attempt. The American Stock Exchange closed its operations today after word of the attempt, and the New York Stock Exchange took an expected dip.
This is Walter Cronkite in our newsroom in... There has been an attempt, as perhaps you know now, on the life of President Kennedy. He was wounded in an automobile driving from Dallas Airport into downtown Dallas, along with Governor Connolly of Texas. They've been taken to Parkland Hospital there, where their condition is as yet unknown. We have just learned, however, that Father Huber, one of the two priests called into the room, has administered the last sacrament of the church.
A Father Huber of the Holy Trinity Church in Dallas has at Parkland Hospital administered the last sacraments of the Roman Catholic Church to the President. There have been many reports coming from Parkland Hospital, some of which we have been able to confirm, others we have not. But we must stress this: KLIF is only accepting news from official sources, those with whom we are in contact daily, those persons we know and can be absolutely certain of the reliability of their statements. So what you hear us broadcast, please bear in mind, it is all of official nature or of eyewitness detail. Sheriff's officers took a young man into custody at the scene. They are questioning him behind closed doors. But this last word from Parkland is that a Roman Catholic priest has administered the last sacraments of the church to the President. That sacrament was administered shortly before 1 o'clock.
Gordon in the hospital operating room and said the governor was shot just below the shoulder blade in the back. But we would state here how he and the President occupied the same vehicle. The President and Mrs. Kennedy were riding in the extreme back seat of this huge limousine, and Governor and Mrs. Connolly were in the jump seats, or the smaller seats directly in front of the President and the First Lady.
Stationed at the Dallas Police Station, Police Captain Pat Ganaway has just told KLIF reporters that a suspect held in the assassination of President Kennedy, that's the 25-year-old boy being questioned right now, was an employee in the building where a rifle was found, an employee in the Sexton building. Ganaway said the suspect had visited Russia and was married to a Russian. This was not immediately confirmed. The suspect's citizenship, that's the 25-year-old boy being questioned, was not known. Police Captain Pat Ganaway said the suspect was the same man who shot and killed a city policeman, J.E. Tippett, in the Oak Cliff section of the city this morning when Tippett had heard rumors that the president's assassin might be hiding in the Texas theater.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago. Vice President Lyndon Johnson has left the hospital in Dallas, but we do not know to where he has proceeded. Presumably, he will be taking the oath of office shortly and become the 36th President of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States is dead. The new President of the United States, by succession, is Vice President Lyndon Johnson. It will be the second time in American history that a Johnson has succeeded to the presidency upon the assassination of the President. The last time being, of course, in the post-Civil War days upon the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Andrew Johnson succeeded as president. And you will recall that this is the second assassination of this century, the last having been the assassination of President William McKinley in 1901. President Kennedy and Governor John Connolly of Texas cut down by assassin's bullets. The condition yet of Connolly undetermined. We know he's been shot in the chest. We do not know whether he has been shot once or twice, but bullet wounds were clearly visible in his chest. We repeat, ladies and gentlemen, the flash of a moment ago, and you get these flashes once in every decade, the President of the United States is dead.
The bulletin is that our correspondent in Dallas, Dan Rather, reports that the Dallas police have arrested a 30-year-old man who was found with a weapon in his possession.
Can you tell me what your first reaction was, ma'am, when you...
Tragedy that ever happened to this country since President Lincoln.
Ma'am?
I can't sit up.
People will remember today as a date to date things in their lives from, in the same way that they did in the case of President Roosevelt. They say, where were you when President Roosevelt died? They will say the same thing about where were you when you first heard the news of President Kennedy's assassination.
We have information now. Judge Sarah Hughes is leaving Parkland en route to left field to swear President Johnson in.
Re-roll it, please.
You shoot the president? I didn't shoot anybody, no, sir.
You just heard Oswald, who said he did not shoot anybody.
We'll be quiet now and wait for the new president's word.
We have suffered a loss that cannot be weighed. For me, it is a deep personal tragedy.
The president died, and of course, at approximately 1 p.m., his body was taken from Parkland Hospital in a large bronze casket. First reported that he was removed in a wooden casket. That's incorrect. Mrs. Kennedy rode from the hospital to the airport in the hearse, her face showing red streaks. At the airport stood the plane of the President of the United States. The then President, Lyndon Johnson, had driven to the airport at about the same time. He, of course, is now the new President of the United States, has been inaugurated, sworn into office at 2:39 p.m. Ceremony took place in the forward compartment of the presidential plane. Kennedy's body on that same plane marked Air Force One. So here is an event unparalleled in the history of the United States of America. A president inaugurated aboard a plane, the first Texas president, the first president ever to be inaugurated where the body of the deceased president lies in state. These are traditions which you can live and tell your grandchildren about. I can only recall a statement by Rhett Butler in the novel Gone with the Wind. Take a good look around you. You're seeing a nation disappear tonight. And you could say as well, take a good look around you, for this is a day of which you can tell your grandchildren.